We're going to talk about black people on the left. In the upcoming election cycle, special elections, and 2018, there are going to be left progressive groups, including Democratic Socialists, who are going to run for office. Now, I'm in Athens, Georgia, and we have Athens for Everyone, which grew out of the Occupy movement, which is great. But you have to realize that we're now in an era where the Democratic Party cares more about making sure that the left stays out of power than they care about beating the GOP. Now, the thing is, and I've been through enough of these progressive meetings to know that a vast majority of the attendants are white in a manner that's disproportionate to the Democratic constituency, especially in a southern town. Yeah, I also know that the moneyed wing of the Democratic Party is not messing around when they send up a white Democratic Socialist candidate who doesn't know how to talk about race. The company Democrats are going to round up a 60-year-old black woman or a 25-year-old black guy with awful politics to run against you. And unless you pay attention through this video, I worry that what happened previously with the Sanders campaign will happen again. But I think this video can set it out in plain English what you need to do to win. So the problem with white left is that they don't talk about the race very well. Sure, Black Lives Matter has increased the discourse around criminalization of black life, but there's a way in which that's fueled by the spectacle of black death rather than the politics of black life. White left, stop talking about racialized prisons and start talking about racialized economics. I know you've read the new Jim Crow, but you aren't as good at talking about prisons as you think you are. And the criminalization complex holds a more complicated place in the black imagination than you think it does. You need to talk about the special claim America owes black people, and I know you don't want to talk about that. I know you think that white poverty is the same as black poverty and that universal programs will appeal to black audiences, but it won't. You don't go to IPAC and not talk about the special relationship between U.S. and Israel. And you don't go to NATO and not talk about the special relationship between the U.S. and Britain. Yet you think you can go to a crowd of black people and not address the special claim that black people have on American wealth. Black poverty is not the same as white poverty. Black poverty was caused by the state in order to create white wealth. Median black household net worth is $1,700. Now, the median white household net worth is $117,000. And this is from an economics prof over at NYU by the name of Edward Wolf at NYU, if you have any question about my numbers. So if you think that being in a neighborhood of black poor where the median income is $1,700, or the median net worth is $1,700, is somehow comparable to, white American life, where the median net worth is $117,000, then you don't know what generational poverty looks like, and you don't take the problem seriously. And until the Democratic Socialists come up with a racial justice program that's focused on the black economy, not prisons, and the way that black descendants of slaves have been locked out of America's wealth, any candidate they put up is going to be taken by a 60-year-old black woman with a crappy hat and crappy politics who was picked by the Democratic establishment just to take out the left insurgency. So we're going to talk about the racial justice platform. Now, with the racial justice platform, a non-black left candidate can say, look, I'm not black, but I'm here to build a black middle class. I'm going to build a black middle class by taking money from white people who've been hoarding it and investing it in their cousins, and we're going to invest it in black communities instead. It's what you're owed, and it's past due. We're going to make sure black businesses get contracts, and we're going to make sure that black workers get paid a living wage. We're going to do it. We're going to get black home ownership rates up, and we're going to make sure that your kids end up a lot better than you are. And we're going to make a lot of white people mad by doing it, but I care more about building a black middle class and getting money into black people's pockets than I do about maintaining white egos. Black people, you have a special claim, and I'm going to make it my job to make sure that you get your due. Right. So you have to be the white person who goes into a black's place and say, black people, you have a special claim, and I'm going to make it my job to make sure that you get your due. And we are going to do it as a matter of justice, not charity, because it's what you are owed. It's a shame that it's taken, and then insert your, city, your town, or your state's name in, this long to admit it. That's what you need to do, white left candidate. When you go into a black space, you need to speak about the special claim, right? Black people aren't going to voluntarily join a white left organization in the numbers you need unless the leadership takes the time and the task to talk about black generational poverty and how it's tied to white generational wealth. Now, if you're scared about the backlash that comes from delving in the race, you're going to be food for the centrist Democrat. But if you do actually delve into the conversation with a purpose and talk about the special claim, black people will sit up and say, whoa, well, he's not like the other ones. So Democratic Socialists or any left group that needs black votes, you have to be able to say, America owes black people a special claim. They have to be first in line for any of the programs we pass. Whatever we do, we need to make sure that they get paid. And when we negotiate, they can't be the ones who take a hit. That's the ethic you need to portray in every one of your statements to a black audience or any white audience. You need to be able to be known to be the one who speaks about the special claim black people have like that. With that tactic, spoken loudly and often strongly, black people will just assume with cause that you're serious about the issue. And without that tactic, and if it's not spoken with purpose, when it comes to negotiating the legislation, black people will assume that what will happen with your pitch will be what happens in America when anyone tries to pass a program for black people that doesn't specifically name the special claim for black people. That's what happened with the New Deal when Roosevelt cut a deal with Southern Democrats to exempt domestic workers and farm workers. That's what happened, if you don't know, domestic workers and farm workers were 75% of the Southern black labor force. So they found a way to grow white wealth in the United States through a universal program that suspiciously left out 75% of black labor. LBJ went to Howard University to announce affirmative action as a racial redress. Then Democrats saw how many votes they could get if they actually started giving affirmative action to everyone. First, it was to black descendants of slaves. Then it was to minorities. And then it stopped being about black people and just started being about diversity. And then once white women got in the game, affirmative action was a wrap because white capital got the green light to hook up their nieces as well as their nephews. And then we really haven't heard too much about the program since the 90s. I'm not saying that any of these groups don't have their own justice claims. I'm saying that it shouldn't have polluted black American descendants of slaves. And like in California, diversity means everyone except black people. Now, white progressives have a long history of being deeply and deeply dubious and unreliable allies. And no black person is going to assume that they have a shared fate with Samantha Bee. However, it's ironic. What's ironic is that Michael Harrington, the founder of the Democratic Socialists of America, knew all of this when he wrote The Other America. Like, if you go look at his book and you read his book, he'll say, look, Negro poverty he has an entire chapter on Negro poverty is unique in every way. So the fact that people who inherit his mantle kind of lump black descendants of slaves poverty with white poverty or with poverty of immigrants, it's just like, it's not the same thing. There's a different claim and it needs to be treated differently. And I say treat all the claims, just treat them specially and treat them differently and treat them appropriately with the right specificity. And that's just if you're serious about getting black votes. If you're not serious about black votes, then just kind of lump them all together and then be surprised when, you're kicked out of black spaces. Or people nod and smile to you and then vote for the centrist Democrat. Now, white left, you need to acknowledge the special claim black people have to political and economic redress as a part of justice, not charity, justice. And to be clear, you need to prove it in front of a black audience. What you need to prove in front of a black audience is that you're willing to piss off other white people for the sake of putting money into black people's politics. You need to be the kind of white person who's known far and wide for saying, look, Halliburton, Boeing, you have some awfully nice defense contracts. How many of your managers are black? It would be a shame if those defense contracts were to go away. So, if I were running against a 40-year-old white woman, I could walk into a room full of 40-year-old white women and talk about their specific justice claims. I'd say, look, I'm not a woman, but I'm going to fight like hell for subsidized childcare, paid leave, and wraparound services for families, because honestly, what kind of job allows you to go home at 3:30? And if it were up to me, we'd talk about subsidized housekeepers, and we'd even work out a scheme for subsidized private chefs, because the double day is real. And I'd make sure that the occupations that are disproportionately gendered female are paid at least a living wage, so that women aren't taxed for being in traditionally female-dominated occupations. I want campaign finance reform so that poor women are paid a living wage, so that when they run for office, they can qualify. They're guaranteed their employment if they qualify, but don't win. And I'm going to punish employers who discriminate against pregnant women and mothers. I think we need to put pressure on private industry to hire mothers who are reentering the workforce and not punish them professionally for taking time to raise their kids. And we're definitely going to talk about subsidized elder care, because when parents get old, this is another duty that falls disproportionately on women. So I'm not a woman, but if you want someone to fight for subsidized childcare, elder care, or, who wants to be aggressive about making sure that women aren't punished by society for being women, I think you should vote for me. Now, if I said that into a group of 40-year-old women, or 40-year-old white women, running against another 40-year-old white woman, I wouldn't get all the votes of the women in the room, but I'd get the cool ones, and I'd definitely split the votes, and I'd do it with arguments based on justice and right, not charity, toward their specific claims, and not running away from the specific claims. Because the way the political economy punishes women is different from the way the political economy punishes everybody. So, left candidates, the establishment Democrats, are going to bet that you are scared to talk about race, especially in a black audience. They think you're going to try to pitch universal programs to a black audience, knowing that the black audience will not take you seriously. And that way, they'll throw the Kamala Harrises or the Cory Bookers at you, and you'll be as vapid on the subject as they are. They want you to talk about everything except black economics. But if you can show that you are a focused advocate for black people as a matter of right and not charity, you'll be able to split off enough black voters to make it to the general. And equally important, you'll be doing it by creating a black left so that in the future, your meetings for your progressive organization will not look as non-black as they currently are. So, look, spread this around your social media, screen this at your GSA meeting or whatever. You can find probably a clean version on YouTube. Go to www.thefunkyacademic.com or go to my YouTube channel. I want you guys to win, and I want you guys to win in more than just New York and California. It can happen. You just can't run away from the special claim to justice black people have in America. Harrington didn't, and you shouldn't either. Once again, my name is Osei-Frimpong. I'm a PhD student studying philosophy at the University of Georgia. You can find my videos at www.thefunkyacademic.com or go to YouTube and put in The Funky Academic. Peace.